Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all those who are watching this class live today. My name is Alex, and I will be conducting IELTS speaking practice today with students who are looking to get feedback on their speaking skills in view to performing in the IELTS exam. I hope today that we will be joined by a large number of people. So please let me know your comments and your if you have any questions throughout the class. Let me know. The more interactive we are as a class, the more useful it will be for those who are participating. So let's see who we have in the class at the moment. Okay, I can see that Anna and Jesnin have joined us in the class, so a very warm welcome to you. If you're watching this class on YouTube or Facebook, then let me know. So there will be students that will be joining us live in the class to do speaking practice today. As I say, I'm looking forward to that. And so we will see what comes up in today's class. Okay, so a few people are beginning to join us now. You can see that Hannah Lee has joined us, watching live on Facebook, and Cameron as well. Also, we have Digo. Hello to you. And Elena is watching us as well. Hello to you, Elena. So we have a number of people watching us live on Facebook at the moment, which is great to see. Okay, anyone else watching live, say hello. Let me know as well where you are currently watching, which country you're watching from as well. It's always interesting to see the number of different countries, people from different backgrounds who are involved in the class. I can see we've got Dr. Naushaba. Hello to you. Selva as well. A very warm welcome to the class. Hello to Joanna and Alvin as well. Cameron is watching from Kurdistan. So a very warm welcome to you, Cameron. Lee is watching from the Philippines. So great to see you in the class, Hannah Lee. Brinda is here watching in Saudi Arabia. Hello to you, Brinda. And we also have Jen in the class as well. And Elena is watching from Ireland. So as usual, quite a mixture of nationalities here, which, as I say, always makes things particularly interesting. Okay. So obviously we're here to do some speaking practice and to get some tips in relation to approaching the IELTS speaking exam. Let me just make you aware of the opportunities that currently exist at Swoosh English and Connetics. For those who wish to receive further support in relation to preparing for the IELTS exam. Okay, so we will be doing practice speaking test exercises today. But the opportunity that I want to make all of those watching live aware of is the opportunity to join the Swoosh Connetics IELTS Scholarship Program. If you are looking to work as a nurse in the USA, then this is a fantastic opportunity which can support you in achieving that goal. Check out the Swoosh English Connetics USA IELTS Scholarship, in which you could get all of this support for free. And apply today by clicking the link or copying the link, which you can see on the banner at the bottom of the screen, and just click on Staff Nurse in order to get more information about this opportunity. Okay, so let's have a look then at today's speaking materials. So one of the key elements of grammar that you'll be assessed on in your IELTS speaking is your use of conditional sentences. Now, conditional sentences are quite varied in English, and so I'm going to provide a bit of a warmer, and I'm going to provide some examples where using conditional sentences would be of benefit in the speaking exam. So an example of a conditional sentence is the zero conditional, and we can see that here. So when we use the zero conditional, we use the present tense in both clauses. So let's have a look at an example. Here is a question. Do you enjoy spending time outdoors? And the response is generally yes, but I don't like to go outside if it's raining. Okay, so we can see that we use the present tense in the main clause. And then with the if clause, we also use the present tense. In this case, it's the present continuous if it's raining. So just as a quick review to check your spoken grammar, what other conditional sentences are there in English? We've got the zero conditional. What other examples can you think of conditional sentences aside from the zero conditional? So let me know in the chat box if you are familiar with your conditional sentences, using sentences to refer to situations which are possible or hypothetical. Okay, so Mokoi has made us aware of the first conditional. Absolutely. The first conditional is a key conditional sentence. What other conditionals do we have? Let's see. So Anna, the second conditional. Yep. And what's the final one for the big prize? Okay. The third conditional, says Anna. Absolutely. So yeah, so we've got first, second, third conditional. These are the most common types of conditional aside from the zero conditional. So we can see when we use the zero conditional, we're talking about situations which are always true or possibly habits. So generally refers to obviously a habit, something that's usually true. I don't like to go outside if it's raining refers to a situation which is always the case. So every time it rains, I don't like to go outside. So that's the zero conditional. You're referring to something that is always true or something that is generally true. Looking at some of these other conditionals which have been suggested, we've got, of course, the first conditional. So we've got an example here. I'll meet you in the park tomorrow if it's not raining. So the first conditional is usually used to refer to the future, and it's a possible situation. So in this case, the possible situation is that I will meet you in the park, but it's on the condition that it's not raining, because as I said before, I don't like to go outside if it's raining. Okay. So first conditional to refer usually to the future, where we most often use will. That's the most common word that we use, and we use the present tense with the if clause. The second conditional is a little bit different grammatically. So here we're referring to a hypothetical situation, usually in the present. So would in the main clause, and we use the past simple or the past continuous in with the if clause. So I would go outside right now if it wasn't raining. So this is a hypothetical situation referring to the present. Obviously, it means that I'm not going outside because it's raining. So we use the second conditional to refer to something that is not true or something that is hypothetical in the present most commonly. And then finally, we've got the third conditional, which is grammatically a bit more complex. So would plus have with the past participle in the main clause, and then we use the past perfect in the if clause. An example of that would be, I would have gone outside yesterday if it hadn't been raining. So in this case, it's a hypothetical situation in the past. I didn't go outside because it was raining. Okay, but I can use the third conditional to refer to something that is hypothetical or something that is the opposite to the truth in the past. So those are the main conditional sentences which we can use in English. McCoy has also said we can use mixed conditionals. Absolutely, that's a good point, McCoy. There are mixed conditionals as well. We're not going to look at that today, but if that comes up in the speaking practice, then extra points for anyone who uses a mixed conditional. So the next thing then, and some people are doing this already, and I'll read out some examples of this in just a moment, is to actually use some other examples of conditional sentences. So imagine, this is the question that you get in the IELTS exam. What do you think would improve your day-to-day experience at work? What conditional sentence or sentences could you use in response to this question? So let me know in the chat box if you have a sentence which you could use in response to this question, a conditional sentence. Give me your examples. Some people have already shared conditional sentences which are not related to this question. So Cameron says, if I were you, I would buy a new car, which is an example of the second conditional. So that's good, Cameron. Also, Jesse, I don't like to go to work if I'm unwell. So that will be an example of a zero conditional, something that's always true. But what could we give as a conditional response to this question? What do you think would improve your day-to-day experience at work? Let me know if you have a response to that one. Okay, so Abigail has said second. So you would use a second example, maybe, of a sentence that you could use? Let me know if you do. Okay, so I will share one of my examples for this question. And an example that you could use would be this one. So we can see again the questions at the top of the screen. A possible answer: I think that if the company invested in a social area, that would be great for staff morale, as it would build better relationships between colleagues. So there's a possible answer using a conditional sentence. Which kind of conditional sentence have I used? Okay. So we've got another suggestion here. My work experience would have been better if my colleagues will do their tasks diligently. Okay, my work experience would have been better if my colleagues had done their tasks diligently. So if you use would have been in the main clause, then you have to use the past perfect in the second clause, because that would be a third conditional. So would have been refers to the past. So yeah, had done, if my colleagues had done, would also refer to the past. I would improve my experience if I had the opportunity. Okay. Yeah, thank you for that one, Cameron. I surmise that it would probably improve my sense of communication with my co-workers. As a result, it could give us a great relationship in the work area. It would probably... That's not actually, Hannah Lee, that's not actually a conditional sentence. It is a nice response, but for it to be a conditional sentence, you need to use a conjunction such as if, for example, in order to show that it's conditional. Okay. So Alice says, if I got a manager who was accommodative and supportive, it would improve my job satisfaction. Good. Alice, just one thing, accommodating is the word there, but nice. That's a good example of a conditional sentence. So the sentence that I've used then, what type of conditional is it? Is it first? Is it zero? Is it second? Is it third? Any comments on that one? Okay, well, the sentence that I've used then that we can see on the screen, this is an example of the second conditional. Yeah, we can see that because we use the past tense if the company invested, and we use would in the main clause. That would be great for staff morale. Okay, so that would be the second conditional in that case. Um, in your sentences that you were using, I saw some examples of the second conditional as well. And that would be most appropriate, wouldn't it? Because if we go back to the question, we can see, what do you think would improve your day-to-day experience at work? So it's asking about the present, but it's hypothetical. It uses the word would. So second conditional would be most appropriate here. Let's have a look at one more example before I bring some students in directly to do some practice together. So here we have another question. So I want you to use an appropriate conditional sentence, or it could be more than one sentence, in response to this question. So do you think more people will continue to move to big cities in the future? So I want you to think about what type of conditional sentence or sentences you could use in response to this question. Would it be first, zero, second, third? What would you go for? Okay, let me know if you have any suggestions as a possible answer to this question. Okay, we'll see if anything comes up in the chat box for this. Just in the meantime, let me share with you again an example. So this is an example response to this question. So possible answer, I think they will. Yeah, so we've got the question again at the top. Do you think more people will continue to move to big cities in the future? Possible answer, I think they will, unless the current movement towards more online forms of interaction continues. In that case, people may be able to work from areas remote from the city as long as they have a good internet connection. So here you can see I've actually given two sentences in my response, and this would be an example of a part 3 question. So extending your responses in part 3 questions is a very good tip. It's a very good strategy to use. So looking at this example then, I've got a few questions for you. Which type of conditional sentence was used in the above answer? Which words were used instead of if? Because I didn't actually use if here. And that's the thing, we don't always have to use if in conditional sentences, even though if is the most common way of making a conditional sentence. We don't have to use the word if. And also, what word did I use instead of will with one of these sentences? So let me know if you have the answers to these questions. So just as some people looking at the answers, I can see that Hannah Lee has given a response here to the question as well. So if people would go to big cities, they would have great opportunities for them to have a commendable future. Yep, thank you very much, Hannah Lee. Although just a slight change here, it should be if people went to big cities, they would have great opportunities. But yeah, apart from that, a very nice sentence. And Alice says, I believe they will, because most of the jobs are available in the cities, and this may be the trend in the, and yeah, I think you meant to say this, yeah, and this may be the trend in the future. Good. Yeah, nice response there, Alice, using the conditional sentence there. Although, just looking at this actually a little bit more detail, it's not actually a conditional sentence there, Alice. It is a very nice response, though. A very nice response to the question, because we've used because to give a reason rather than a condition in that case. But it's still a nice response. Okay, so looking at some of the questions that I had there, then instead of if, Cherry says unless. Yeah, good. So we can use unless as a way of making a conditional sentence instead of if, but it actually has the opposite meaning to if. So if we look at that sentence, the first one, it says, I think they will, unless the current movement towards more online forms of interaction continues. So what you're basically saying there is, I think they will, if the current movement towards more online forms of interaction does not continue. So unless means the opposite to if, basically if not. And may is being used instead of will. So well done, Cherry, for noticing that. And in terms of the type of conditional sentence that I'm using, I'm actually using here two examples of the first conditional. Okay, so we can see that here. So will obviously is used in the most commonly in the first conditional, unless is being used instead of if. And we're using the present tense with the if clause. So that shows you it's the first conditional. And then in the second sentence, it says people may be able to work from areas remote from the city. So I'm using may instead of will. I'm still talking about the future, but I'm using may instead of will in this case to show that it's a possibility, instead of something which I think is definitely going to happen. And then I'm using as long as instead of if here, as long as they have a good internet connection. So as long as just means if. So they may be able to work from areas remote from the city if they have a good internet connection, or in this case, as long as they have a good internet connection. So a bit of variety being used here. And as you can see, I've actually given 2 conditional sentences in my response. So let's see then if during our practice today, we can use some more conditional sentences. I'm going to bring some students in, so we will see how that goes. Okay, so let me bring in one of our students. We will start with Peter. So I'm just going to bring Peter in now. Hi there, Peter. How are you doing?
Hello, yeah, I'm fine.
Great, great.
Yeah,
How are you with where are you at the moment? You look like you're outside.
yeah, I'm actually outside, yeah, the beach side in the hotel where my wife is currently working. Yeah,
Ah,
like let my child play in the sand right now, so that I
oh,
wouldn't bother me that much.
inside, I hope. Is your child playing inside?
Here outside the in the sand, he is playing.
Uh, okay, okay, very nice. Okay then, Peter. So we're going to do some part 3 practice to start.
Sure.
We'll see how we go. How are you with conditional sentences?
I was able to like learn some of the things. I think I've been using those things, some of those before, but I'll try
Okay.
to like improve in that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, you're not going to use them for every question, but there will be opportunities. So, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
see. We'll see, Peter. Okay, great. So, the topic we're going to look at then, to begin with, I will reveal soon. Just as a quick description, as we always do in the class, for those who are less familiar, part 3 of IELTS speaking usually lasts between 4 to 5 minutes, and it's a Q&A format. The questions are more abstract. So that's where conditional sentences can be particularly useful, because you can be hypothetical in some cases. It's important that your answers are clearly structured and that you give a clear opinion as well where appropriate. And you should also justify your opinion too. So we're going to look at the topic of television, Peter. And the first question I have for you is watching television popular in your country?
Well, I would say it's a popular pastime in the country where I was staying before, like in the Philippines. So Filipinos are fond of watching like programs in the television, and I would say it had been their habit to have it as a pastime. It's just because uh, some of the TV programs alleviate the stress that they would have been feeling during that time, and also it helps them feel refreshed during that particular moment.
What kinds of television programs are popular in the Philippines?
In the Philippines, I would say uh, TV programs that are based in the dramas that a usual family would encounter. So scenes that portray family feud, some family struggles in terms of monetary situations. So I think those are the main aspects of the television programs in the Philippines.
In your opinion, why do people like watching television?
Well, I believe people want to watch television just to buy some time in their if they're free during their stay at home. Also, I would say it's an alternative for them to release the stress. Well, there are other ways to relieve stress, like, for example, having a good exercise. So, apart from that, watching television, I think, is a relaxing way to relieve stress. So, I think those are the reasons why people opt to watch TV shows.
And what effects can watching television have on children?
Well, I think one of the dangerous aspect of children um, uh, having like without guidance watching a television would be if there would be some TV programs that would portray some dangerous aspects. I mean, if there would be some scenes that would be very um, non-conservative for them to watch. I think uh, if there wouldn't be an adult that would accompany them during their watch, I think the children wouldn't be guided that much, and they would be having uh, no opportunity to learn things from that TV program, I would say.
Okay, thank you very much there,
Sorry.
Peter. No, no, that was great. That was great. So some really nice use of vocabulary in there, as usual. Talking about pastimes, alleviate stress. You talked about as well people opting for watching television. So there's some nice paraphrasing of vocabulary. So you weren't just repeating the same words and phrases. So yeah, I thought that definitely worked nicely there.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and also it was good that you at the end there you were using that conditional sentence, but there's a slight tweak we want to make to it. So you said, I think, if there would be an adult that would accompany them, or I think you said if there wouldn't be an adult that would accompany them, they wouldn't be guided. But we only use wouldn't in the main sentence, the main clause. So what we would want to say there would be if there wasn't an adult or if there weren't an adult to
Okay.
accompany them, then they wouldn't be guided properly, for example.
Okay.
Yeah, but good. Yeah, good that you were using the conditionals there because that was a perfect opportunity to do it. So yeah, so you picked up on that just with that slight tweak. You would have got the full credit there in terms of use of grammar. So yeah, some really good stuff. Just a few other slight suggestions, Peter. So you at one point you said to buy some time. They watch TV to buy some time, but I think when you're buying time, it's when you need more time. Like
Mhm.
you're being asked to do something, but you're not ready, so you're trying to buy time. Like in the IELTS exam, you might buy time using a phrase. Like someone asks you a question, you're like, "Oh, I'm not
Mhm.
sure." So you might say, "That's a very interesting question." To buy some time.
Mhm.
But what you were saying in that context would be to pass the time. So they watch TV
To
to pass the
pacify.
time. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Good. And just one other phrase you said as well that another way to relieve stress is having a good exercise. But in this case, you'd want to use doing. So doing exercise or taking
Doing
exercise.
exercise.
No,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But apart from that, yeah, some really nice stuff there, Peter. So
Thank you so much.
good stuff. You're welcome. Okay. So let's continue with some more practice. I'm going to bring Anna in now. Are you there, Anna?
Yes,
Hi,
Alex,
Anna.
I'm here. Hello,
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Um, Good to have you back. Have you had a nice week?
Yes,
Yeah?
yes,
Good.
I had.
Brilliant. Okay. So, Anna, we're going to look at a different topic together now. And the topic will be influences on the young. So, my first question to you, Anna, is what type of people influence the young in your country?
Well, I think the people who influence the youngsters in my country is the artists like the popular people, for example, the singer like Casey Concepcion. So they are, I mean, Casey Concepcion serves as an inspiration to all the youngsters. So all of the, all of the things that she's doing, it inspires the youngster to do. So I think in that sense, the youngster will be able to like sorry, I'm having a mental block.
That's fine. Don't worry, Anna. Why do you think that this singer is so inspirational to young people in your country?
Because this singer is not only a singer, she is like be I mean lending a helping hand to others. Like she is serving care, rendering care to those who are oppressed and those who are in need of her help.
Okay. And why do you think it's important for young people to have role models?
I think it is vital because young people need a step by step guide in order to be successful in life and in order to um showcase their full potential in life.
Okay. And what type of people, in your opinion, are the best influence on young people's behavior?
To my mind, I think it's their parents because parents are their first teachers in life. And if the parents are equipped with all the knowledge and like let's say giving them all the good values and morals in this life, I think the children will be better in the future.
And what do you think young people will be most influenced by in the future?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, Sir Alex?
Certainly. What do you think young people will be most influenced by in the future?
I think in the future, sorry, I'm in like on the fence about this question because I am not so sure. But maybe in the future, I think the like advertisements of the renowned individual is the main key in influencing the youngsters because as we all know, all the ads in the televisions nowadays are the youngsters are imitating it. So I think in the future, it is, it is, it will continue.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much there, Anna. Some very nice responses to the questions. I particularly liked your use of collocation, so phrases. So serves as an inspiration is a very nice phrase to use. You also used the expression to lend a helping hand, which was another really nice phrase. And then you used the verb showcase. I think, did you say showcase their ability? I think was the
Their
expression that you
full
used.
potential.
Even better. Very nice. Yeah, showcase their full potential. So it's great that you've got this range of phrases that you're using, and you're using all of them appropriately as well. So that was great to hear. There was also some nice variety in terms of giving opinions. So to my mind was a nice expression to give an opinion. You used a nice conditional in there as well, first conditional, as well about young people. I didn't get the full phrase down, but you did it correctly. So well done for that one. And yeah, and so you also use a nice time buying phrase as well, just towards the end. You said, I'm on the fence because I'm not so sure. So that's a perfect example of buying yourself a bit of time. I could see that, your response to the final question wasn't completely clear because maybe you weren't quite sure exactly how you wanted to answer it. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, so I think maybe in that case you could say, yeah, I don't think there'll be much change. I think they'll continue to be influenced by famous people, celebrities. But yeah, generally you did a really good job there, Anna, with your responses to the questions. Only really slight point I would just make, towards the end you use the expression the main key, which is slightly redundant because if you say the key, that means like the main point or the main aspect of something. So it's a bit redundant to use the expression the main key, but just a small point really there.
All right.
But yeah, aside from that, really accurate language that you were using. So yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much there, Anna. Okay, so let me just remind those who are watching, if you want to partake in this class during a future session, you can do so by getting involved in the IELTS scholarship program. And this is being offered by both Connetics and Swoosh English. So let me just bring up a little bit of information relating to that for those who haven't already taken this opportunity and wish to do so. Okay. So you can see that the IELTS scholarship program, you can sign up for that today. If you have the desire to work as a nurse in the USA, then let us help you to complete that ambition. You can do all of this for free. Just click on the link, which you can see here at the bottom of the screen and also in the chat box, and click on the option Staff Nurse to find out more information. Okay, so we will be bringing another student into the class now to do some further practice. So let's do that. And I'm going to bring Cheryl into the class. Let me just see. Are you there, Cheryl? No. Okay, it looks like Cheryl's not able to join us on this occasion. Let me bring in Jesnine. Hi, Jesnine, are you there?
Hi, Alex. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Great to hear your voice, Jesnine. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. I'm doing well as well. Okay, so I'm going to bring up a new topic for us to look at together. Are you ready, Jesnine?
Uh, yeah. I'm ready.
Yeah, as ready as you will ever be, right? Okay, so let me just bring this topic up now. It's going to be on the topic of eating habits. So, can you see that on your screen?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. So, Justine, could you tell me about the types of food that people eat in your country?
Nowadays, there are several types of food or diet that usually in our country people follows. But I can observe that Asians quite loves a lot of carbs, specifically rice. For example, we Filipinos, we cannot live a viand without rice. Unlike in the western part, they fond of eating meats alone or pastas. So here in the Philippines, it is usually paired with a very delightful, delicious viand, and of course, a very warm cup of rice.
Okay. And would you say that the eating habits in your country have changed compared to the past?
Yes, there is not a shadow of doubt that there's a change in regards of eating habits from the present, in the present rather. I can say that, as I've mentioned a while ago, there are emerging types of diets nowadays, like for example, keto diet. So this keto diet, it 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 is more like zero carbs, more on the fatty food. Well, you are consuming fatty foods and more on protein. And another example is the intermittent fasting. So this type of diet also is more about you cannot you cannot have an intake of food for, if I'm not mistaken, for about 16 hours, and you're allowed to take food within the remaining of 8 hours.
Why is it, do
Mhm.
you think, that different cultures have different eating habits?
I think because we practice different beliefs, I guess. So I think that we practice different types of diet. For example, for example, our brothers and sister in Muslim, so they do not consume pork meats, and in the Jewish part, they, if I'm not mistaken, they are not also allowed to eat pork and crabs. So I think it depends where we grow from, where we grow, and what kind of religion we believe in.
How may eating habits change in the future?
I think eating habits may change in the future because there are a lot of um, there are a lot of emerging fast foods, for example. So nowadays we live in a fast-paced life, so sometimes we forgot to eat, and sometimes when we eat we do not consume a healthy type of diet. I i can say.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you very much for those responses, Jessamine.
Oh my gosh, I'm stuttering and I'm so very nervous. I'm sorry.
You did well. You did well. You gave a good performance there. Yeah, so you answered the questions clearly. You used a nice range of language as well, appropriate language. You knew a lot about the diets, obviously referring to intermittent fasting, keto diet. So obviously you know a lot about this area. Um, and you were using some nice expressions as well. At one point, you said, "Yeah, not a shadow of a doubt" in one of the responses, which was a nice emphatic expression to use.
Mhm.
So yeah, lots of positive stuff there, Jasnine. Just a few things to pick up on. So I just thought that you said you were stuttering. You weren't stuttering too much, but you were speaking. The pace was just a little bit slow at times.
Yes.
So yeah, I think maybe that partly that's a bit of sort of nervousness. Sometimes people slow down a bit when they feel a bit more nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only thing I would just say in terms of fluency is that the pace was just a little bit not very slow. It's not dramatic, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
you could just at times just a little bit faster just to show a higher level of
Okay.
fluency. Um,
Okay. Okay.
and just be aware of plurals as well. So with food, there's a lot of food items which are uncountable. So you referred
Okay.
to meats, pastas. We wouldn't use those in the plural. We talk about meat or pasta, just like with rice. We wouldn't
Okay.
say, yeah, so you use that one correctly. So it would be the same with like meat and pasta. And also the word food as well usually is used in an uncountable way. So we wouldn't usually use the plural form with it. Um,
Okay.
and also, you use the term viand, which
Mm-hmm.
I had to quickly research, and it seems like that's very common in the Philippines. So it says, I was looking at a meat, seafood, or vegetable dish that accompanies rice in a typical Filipino meal. So I'd not heard of this before. Um, so what I would say is that if you are going to use words that are more culturally specific, make sure that you explain what the meaning of the word is as you do so. So if you say, for example, yeah, we have like rice with viand, and then describe what a viand is, because otherwise there's a good chance that the examiner will be confused.
Oh,
Um,
okay. I thought
yeah,
viand is a type of dish, like a side dish. I'm not sure.
yeah, it is, but it's specifically in the Philippines by the looks of it.
Okay. Okay.
So it's kind of yeah, it's like a dish that let's say in the UK. I don't know if you've spent much time in the UK, but we have some specific dishes. So one dish might be, for example, um, spotted dick. Have you heard of this?
No.
So this is it. So if I'm going to talk about a specific dish, then I'd want to say, okay, so this is like a sweet dish. It has raisins. We have it as desserts, and it's quite it has quite a lot of sugar in it. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, just a quick description, just so the examiner's not confused.
Okay. Okay. Thank
But yeah,
you.
thank you very much, Jasmine. Well done as well. Okay, so let's continue with our practice. I'm just going to bring Eagle into the class now. So let's see how Eagle's doing. How are you doing
Hi,
today?
I'm
Are you
good. How about
good?
you?
Good. Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. I'm doing well. So Eagle, I think we're going to switch it now to look at task two. So how do you feel about that?
Let's give me a try.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. We're going to do a task 2 then with Eagle. Um, and for task 2, a quick description. Usually this section of the exam will last 3 to 4 minutes. It begins with the presentation of a question, and the candidate will have 1 minute to prepare before they respond. The candidate should always aim to speak for up to 2 minutes. In the real exam, you'll be asked to speak for between 1 minute to 2 minutes, but aim to speak for 2 minutes. If the examiner interrupts you before 2 minutes, that is not a problem at all. But if you stop before the 2 minutes, then the examiner may ask you a follow-up question. So the topic we're going to look at then, Eagle, is foreign language. So can you see the topic on your screen?
Yes, of course.
Perfect. Okay, so you've got 1 minute then, Eagle, to prepare your response. Okay, are you ready to begin, Eagle?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, so please describe the time when you first talked in a foreign language.
When I saw the question, I remembered a friend of mine in college. He loved to speak in Japanese language. Actually, he was able to talk and to write in a Japanese way. I was really amazed that time. Aside from using our language, which is the Tagalog or here in the Philippines, then uh, he was also trying to do that in his way in order to incorporate the Japanese language in our conversation at the time. Well, um, he asked me to read and to research all about the common words or even the other way to create a statement using that language. Well, it was hard to pronounce or even to read all about that language. Well, I actually learned uh, about a word like konnichiwa. So that language was really amazing. At first, I don't I didn't know what's the meaning of the word. Well, because of my friend, he actually shared to me everything about the words, the usually common words that
Thank you.
usually
Thank you very
used.
much. Thank you, Eagle. There we go. We just got to the 2 minutes there. So
Okay.
yeah, we got there. We got there. Um, uh, good. So yeah, you kept going and speaking for the full 2 minutes, which is obviously positive. Your language is also very accurate as well in terms of grammar, very accurate in terms of vocabulary as well, and also in terms of pronunciation. The only slight point I would make on pronunciation is that you said Japanese, but it's a long vowel sound at the end. So
Okay.
Japanese,
All
yeah,
right.
Japanese. But apart from that, you were very accurate. I
Thank
think
you.
the no worries there, Eagle. I think that the main thing to focus on though is just with fluency, because there is quite a lot of hesitation in there. So I would
Okay.
really practice with task two, and just think about how you can reduce it. Because the reason you have a minute to prepare is to try and sort of reduce the pausing as much as possible. So you've always got ideas that you can use,
Mm-hmm.
and there was also quite a lot of repetition of vocabulary as well. So although your vocabulary was very accurate, you were repeating words quite a lot. So words like language and even the word you use quite a lot as well. So you weren't showing as much variety because of the fact that there was repetition there and there was hesitation there as well. So 10 out of 10 for accuracy, but in terms of fluency and variety, that's where you'd want to work in order to improve
Mm-hmm.
for IELTS speaking part two.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, no worries, Eagle. No worries. We'll do some more practice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, thank you. Well done for getting involved. Okay. So let's continue then. We'll look at another part two question. And for this one, I'm going to bring Alice into the class. Hi there, Alice.
Hi, Alex.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good, good. So, Alice, we're going to look at another part two question together. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Great. Okay. So, the question you can see there is focused on the topic of opinions. Can you see the question clearly?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful. Okay, Alice. So, you've got a minute then to prepare, and then you should speak on the question for between 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Alice, are you ready to begin?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Okay. So, please describe a time when you changed your opinion.
Well, not long ago, in my country, there is a debate that is going on. Being the person I am, I have always been interested in politics. There is a debate on building bridges called BBI, which has been going on since last year. And for some reason, I was always opposed to it until yesterday when the members of parliament were actually discussing about it. And at some point, when they went on to vote, I actually felt like I needed to go ahead and support it because initially, based on the arguments that most of our members of parliament would bring up, it always sounded like it was more political than something that was going to help the common man in my country. And I got to a point whereby I felt like the politicians were not being very honest with their opinions. And that forced me to change my view towards the bill. And as of now, I think if we were to go for the referendum before the end of this year, I would support and say yes, that we should pass it in spite of the challenges or in spite of the errors that might be in that bill. And this made me wonder whether all politicians can ever be honest whenever they give their decisions or their views over anything, Because when I read the papers today morning, I felt like most of them were actually against it because they have battles that they need to fight out with their colleagues, especially in the next coming general elections, which will be held next year in my country. And for this reason, I felt that most of them may have wanted that the bill does not go through so that they can beat their opponents, whom they are likely to face during the next elections.
Thank you very much there, Alice.
You're most
Very,
welcome.
very interesting. And yeah, a lot of interesting political intrigue going on in your country by the sounds of it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I mean, as happens in so many countries, but good. I just wanted to note down that final point you made because I want to come back to that later. But so the real strength for your part two speaking here, Alice, is your ability to link ideas together. So to use time phrases, you started with not long ago. Other ways you link time together with a point whereby, in spite of, in order to link ideas together as well. And then you also talked about, you said the next coming general election. So it was good that you were linking it in terms of time, but there was a little bit of redundancy there because it should be just the coming general election or the next general election. So if you use both together, they mean the same thing. But people do it sometimes, but technically it is a bit redundant. So, but really nice ways that you were linking your ideas together. Yeah, some nice phrasal verbs as well. So bring up was nice. It's always like hearing phrasal verbs used particularly naturally in the language that you were producing. So that was great as well. I just wanted to pick up on that final expression. So you said they may have wanted that the bill doesn't go through. So it was clear, but the grammar was slightly unorthodox or slightly.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think rather than they may have wanted that the bill doesn't go through, so they may not have wanted the bill to go through, would sound a bit more natural there. But yeah, the meaning was clear. It just sounded slightly unnatural. Yeah, apart from that, really strong. Just one other tip I would give though, actually, is right at the beginning you said not long ago, then you said there is a debate, and you slightly hesitated, and I wasn't sure whether you kind of picked up on the fact that because I said not long ago, I should use the past tense because you're referring to the past. So I'm not sure if you did, if that was the reason you paused, but what I would say is that if you realize that you've made a slip, because as native speakers we do it all of the time, if you realize you made a slip, correct it, because you will actually get credit for correcting it. So if you're like, I should have used a past tense there, so just correct it, because that's what I would do if I made a slip if I was speaking. And it's what you do generally speaking in speech, because you're saying things in the moment, so you're going to make some mistakes, but if you correct those mistakes, then you're not going to lose marks for grammar by doing that. So yeah.
To be honest, I actually wasn't very sure whether I should talk about it, because the initial discussion that I wanted to share, I thought I may not be able to talk about it for 2 minutes. So this was a thought that came to my mind very fast, and I had to try and create something out of it.
You went for much longer than 2 minutes. Well, no, you didn't. Sorry. You could have done. You could have gone for much longer than 2 minutes if I hadn't stopped you. So, yeah, absolutely. I guess just the final thing, Alice. It's not a major thing, because your speaking is obviously very strong. But in part two, when we've done part three before, it's not been evident at all. But with part two, I did notice there were some times where you were speaking at a slightly slower pace. I think maybe.
I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We're thinking and speaking at the same time. So yeah, that would be the only thing I would make in terms of like a fluency comment, is that the pace could have been slightly quicker. But yeah.
I noted, because I think I was trying to think as I talked.
Yes. Yeah. That does tend to slow people down a little bit, but yeah, that's it. But yeah, thank you very much, Anna. Alice, sorry. Anna was here before. Thank you very much, Alice.
Thank you.
Wonderful stuff. And there's some really nice comments, really positive comments for you as well in the chat section.
Thank you.
So there you go. Okay, so we have almost run out of time, but I will do practice with one more student. one more student who is in the class. So who hasn't practiced with us yet? I'm going to bring Netra into the class. Hi there, Netra.
Yes, hi.
Hi, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm excellent.
Good, good. I'm so glad to hear it. So, Netra,
Yeah.
we've almost run out of time, but I wanted to give the opportunity as well so we could do some practice with you. So I'm going to
Yes.
move on to a new question. And
Yes.
but I'm going to actually move on to back onto part 3, just for the final part of the class now.
Yes.
So let me just bring up that the new topic. I'll just be one moment. Just do that now. Okay, so the topic we're going to look at is going to be on leisure activities, Netra.
Okay.
So
Okay.
here we go. Okay, so what types of leisure activities are popular in your country?
As far as I concern, I think
Sorry, Netra, your audio is not clear.
entertainment. Hello,
Hi, Netra. Hi,
can you
your
hear me?
audio was. I can
Hello,
now. Yeah.
is it audible?
Hi. The
Hello,
audio before.
hello,
Hello. Can you hear me?
hello. Yes, yes.
Can you hear me there, Netra?
I
Okay.
can.
Sorry, Netra. I can't hear you. Your audio keeps going in and out.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Can you
Can
hear
you hear
me?
me? I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes,
Let's try. Let's try again. Let's see how we go. So, Netra, could you
yes,
repeat
yes,
your
yes.
response? What types of leisure activities are popular in your country?
Okay, if in my perception, I think people like to do some outdoor games or go for entertainment, like watching movies or attending some musical concerts. So it depends on their personal hobbies and personal choices. And but nowadays, just because of this pandemic, as outdoor activities has been banned, so they like to watch some movies on Netflix or using some social media. They want to surf something on online.
Okay. And why is it important for people to have leisure activities?
Because that's the time to relax or to rejuvenate our body and mind, because throughout the week we have been working. So during, at least during weekends, we have to unwind ourselves. We need to focus on our hobbies so that our body and mind can be recharged and we can be ready for the next week.
Are there some types of leisure activities that are popular today, which were also popular when you were a child?
Yes, I think that some outdoor activities were quite popular. For example, some outdoor games we used to play a lot on in a sport, in a playground. Some popular games at that time were like kabaddi and kho, those kind of traditional games were quite popular. And even today, I can see some children are playing those kind of games. So apart from this, I think watching movie was quite common. If I speak about 2 to 3 decades ago, people used to go to the cinemas, and still until now, people love to do that.
And what types of leisure activity do you think may become popular in the future?
In my perception, I think people will prefer to watch movies or the entertainment activities or for entertainment, they would like to choose this thing, digital platform, because nowadays more people have been glued to their own mobile, and they have various applications on their on their phones. So I think in foreseeable future they will opt for entertainment program whatever available online, or other than going out for the playing games or watching movies in theater. They will prefer to be at home and can use this thing, digital platform for the entertainment.
Okay, thank you very much there, Netra. We got there in the end with the audio,
Okay.
so good stuff on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so some really positive stuff, some nice use of vocabulary, nice expressions. You referred to outdoor games, you referred to people being glued to their mobile, which is a nice idiomatic expression to use. There was also, you used the term unwind. You said unwind ourself, but we don't usually
Yeah.
use the reflexive. So just unwind without ourself is the
Okay.
most common way
Okay.
to use it.
Okay. So ourselves
Also,
should not be there. Only unwind.
no, just to unwind. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you also use the term rejuvenate.
Okay.
Yeah, which is nice. That's a nice one. I just wasn't sure about the pronunciation of
Okay.
it there. Yeah,
Rejuvenate.
rejuvenate.
Rejuvenate. Okay.
There you go.
Rejuvenate. Okay.
That's the one. Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Yeah, but there was some really good accuracy in terms of prepositions. So depends on, people make mistakes with that, but you used it correctly. Focus on, you also used correctly as well. But you referred to some popular games. So I didn't get them. I think Coco was one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Coco.
Yeah. So being from the UK, I don't know what Coco is. So
Yeah.
similarly to
But in
when I was talking
English
to,
also it is called as Coco. I actually tried to search online to what it called in English. So it is Coco only. Coco and
yeah,
Kabaddi. Kabaddi you might be knowing.
what's it
Now it's
called? The other one?
getting Kabaddi. Kabaddi. That is also
No.
one kind of popular game. Nowadays they are playing at international listing level.
Okay.
Kabaddi is a
Okay.
traditional game we used to play. Yeah.
So this is it. So just, if there is a game which may be like, obviously I'm from the UK, the examiner that you have maybe from the UK or maybe from the US. So if there's anything you think that culturally might be not known by the examiner, it's
Okay.
worth just giving a quick description, of what the game is. So yeah, you can
Okay.
use it. That's no problem. But yeah, just a quick description would have been good there. But yeah, apart from that, Netra, really good job. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Alex.
No worries. Take care. Okay, so we've come to the end of the class now. Thank you very much to all those who have participated, both by being involved directly in the class and those who have watched and commented on YouTube and Facebook as well. We will be back next week for another speaking class. And if you would like to get involved, then do just follow the link for the IELTS Scholarship Program. And I will bring that up again. For those who would like to take part. So if you would like to work in the United States as a nurse, then we can support you at Swoosh English and Connetics USA. Connetics USA is the largest recruiter of nurses to work in the United States of America. So this is a great opportunity, and you could get all of this support for free. So just click on the link, which is in the chat box, or on the banner, which you can see here, and you can find out more about that opportunity today. So I hope to see you all next week. Until then, take care and have a great weekend.